Hi there, I'm Christine Dunbar from speechmodification.com, and this is my Smart American Accent training. I'm live today with a bonus video to talk to you about these words: hitting, hiding, hiring, betting, and betting. And I want to talk about the flap T sound, or just the flap sound, and how it appears in these words, and just give you some information and background to help you both with these words and just one of the general patterns we have in American English. So looking at the sound, we have a sound that's called a flap. And in English, we use that for the T and D sounds in the middle of words and at the ends of words when the T sound links to a vowel sound. So, for example, if I'm saying hitting, I don't use a true T here. I don't say hitting, but rather it sounds more like a D, but it's not actually a D. So a D and a T, when we say those sounds, we build up air in our mouth and then we release it. So when I say hit or to, I have to close off the air and then let it go. When I say hitting, I'm going up to the same spot with my tongue where I make that T and D sound. My voice is on, but it's light and I'm not building up a lot of pressure. So the difference is, if you heard me say, for example, let's do it with hiding. If I did hiding versus hiding, you can hear there's a slight difference in how the air gets stopped for that D sound. So this flap is here in the middle of words in English for T's and D's. Also at the ends of words when I'm linking. So if I say, for example, did it, I link those two and I use a flap. I don't say did it, but rather did it. Or similarly, hit it, that T also becomes a flap. Hit it, did it, hitting, hiding. So flap is a very useful sound, but we don't exactly have a letter to represent it. I typically use letter D to represent it just because we naturally can flap those Ds that come in the middle more easily than we sometimes do with Ts. It's a difference between American English and British English, right? In British English, hitting, American English, hitting. So the difference here between hitting and hiding really is just only in what vowel I says. So in hitting, vowel I says the I sound, like in it. So you can try it's hitting. The way we mark a flap, one way we mark a flap in the IPA is with a T with a little line under it. I usually use that one to help you see, but the dictionary may or may not show that. The dictionary might just show you a T, which doesn't let you know. So you need to learn the rules and patterns for where the flap happens. And then hiding, we have the diphthong I. So I've rewritten it here for you with the word hi. We also spell the I other ways, just it's the same as saying hi, but that doesn't give you as much of a clue as this type of hi. So hiding, there you're going to see a D in the dictionary, but really you're going to be using a flap. So the symbol for a flap is actually like an upside down R. But that's not commonly used in American dictionaries because we don't really have a concept for that. But it's going to be useful in a moment when we talk about what flap does in other languages. So in the Spanish language and a number of other languages, they use a flap sound for words spelled with the letter R. So for example, pero in English, in Spanish, pero has that flap for the R. So when you're saying a word like hiring in English, if you have difficulty between hiding and hiring, it's probably because you associate that flap with the R sound, and they may sound the same to you, hiding. So if you're saying hiring with a flap, hiding, you can hear how it sounds just like hiding. So that's where your issue comes in if you're a Spanish speaker or have another language where the flap is used for the R sound. If you think about that, those languages also have an R that's a rolled R, and that's like that's rolling the tongue and flapping it up many, many times. So a flap is just like one roll of a rolled R. How that sounds in accented English is if I'm saying a word like very, it would sound more like very, very. And so that's using that little flap instead of an R sound. So in words like hiring or very, you have to, in American English, always use that tight back American R. So looking at hitting, hiding, and hiring, that's one way to kind of rewrite that to really make difference in your brain. No difference between the hitting and hiding for that T and D, but a big difference for hiring for that R. Similarly, I wanted to look quickly at the words betting and bedding because those basically sound exactly the same. So two T's or two D's in the middle are both going to be that flap sound. And so when you're looking at a word like betting, you can think about, oh, okay, if I visualize it with this spelling, betting, it might be easier for me to do that flap sound. The only difference here between I'm betting on the horse and the betting on the bed is that the vowel might be slightly shorter for this first one because we tend to use a shorter vowel before a voiceless sound than a voiced sound. In the word betting, we're using a flap, which is voiced. But if I just had bet versus bed, for example, bet versus bed, bed has a longer vowel and bet has a shorter vowel. But in most cases, you're going to really need to rely on context to tell the difference between betting and bedding. They're going to sound exactly the same. So I hope this helped you with understanding what the flap is and some of the places that we use it. Also, how your native language might influence how you are thinking of this sound and where you're using it. Thinking about more examples for flap, you can find that in my videos about flap T in the middle of words and on specific words and sounds. And then also check out our playlist and videos for American R if you're struggling with the Spanish versus the English or other languages that use a rolled R or a flapped R. A lot of Indian English speakers have this issue, Arabic speakers. There's many places where the R and the flap can be kind of confusing in terms of pronunciation. Thanks for being a part of class today. I'll be back again tomorrow with another Word of the Day class, as well as on Friday, we'll have our live question and answer class. You can attend that class and we talk about words and sounds, American accent, anything to help you with your overall pronunciation in American English. I'm Christine Dunbar from speechmodification.com. Remember, if you want to sound like a native speaker, you can do it. speechmodification.com. Bye, everyone. Hope to see you again soon.